A single sound cuts through the night, the sharp crack of something breaking, followed by a splash that vanishes into the cold black water. No one sees the attacker. No one sees the victim fall. But somewhere in the darkness, a secret message is already moving across the airwaves, carrying the truth of what happened and the danger waiting ahead. The night settles heavily over the dockyard, wrapping the wooden piers in a silent, uneasy calm. Cold fog curls across the water like slow-moving smoke. A lone light swings above the empty walkway, its glow weak and trembling as if afraid of the darkness around it. In the far corner of the dock, a small device begins to blink, a soft red pulse, steady and slow, like a heartbeat. It sits on top of a weathered crate, almost invisible in the shadows. But the blinking grows faster, as if responding to something unseen. A figure steps out from behind the shipping containers, moving with careful, deliberate steps. Their boots make almost no sound on the wet planks. They reach for the device, fingers shaking just enough to reveal a hint of fear. The fog swallows most of their body, hiding everything but the outline of their arms and the faint reflection of metal in their hand. With a quick twist, they adjust a knob on the device. Suddenly, faint crackles rise from it, broken bits of radio chatter, scattered and distorted, as if coming from far away. The figure leans closer, listening. The voice coming from the device is fragmented, but the warning inside it is clear enough to make the listener freeze. Someone has discovered their operation. Someone knows what they are sending through the radio frequencies. And someone brave or foolish is planning to expose everything. The figure's breath turns sharp. They look over their shoulder, scanning the fog for any hint of movement. The dockyard seems still, but the air carries a feeling like a presence watching from just beyond sight. A loud clang rings out as a loose metal chain hits a post, stirring the quiet. The figure jumps. Their hand tightens around the small metallic object, and the tension in the air grows so thick it feels almost physical. Then it happens. A sudden shout breaks through the silence, sharp and desperate. The figure spins around. Footsteps pound against the pier fast, frantic, coming closer and closer. A second person bursts into view, a silhouette racing through the fog. Their face is hidden, but their panic is unmistakable. They reach the edge of the dock just as the first figure moves toward them. Words fly between them, though the fog and distance swallow the exact exchange. But the emotion is clear: fear, anger, and then something final, something irreversible. The second person backs up, hands raised in a silent plea. The first one steps forward with a single, violent motion. A struggle erupts, brief, sharp, and completely silent except for the sound of shoes scraping against wood. And then, the echo that starts it all, the board cracking under sudden weight. The splash that follows swallows the struggling figure whole. Ripples expand across the black water, then settle just as quickly as they came. The attacker stands frozen for a long moment, chest rising and falling with uneven breaths. Slowly, they bend down, pick up the blinking device, and slip it into their coat. A final look at the water confirms that nothing will surface, not yet. With calm steps, they disappear into the fog as if they were never there at all. But long after the figure leaves, the air still hums with the faint residue of the broken radio signal. It drifts upward, unseen and unnoticed, carrying the beginning of the mystery that Rex will soon smell, Charlie will soon question, and the entire team will soon chase before the truth sinks too deep to recover. Morning light breaks slowly over St. John's, touching the dockyard with a pale, cold glow that makes every detail clearer than the night before. The fog has lifted just enough to reveal the crime scene tape fluttering in the wind. Officers move around carefully, marking evidence, taking photos, and whispering theories that don't yet connect. The water is still, but the uneasy calm from the night seems to linger, hanging heavy in the air like a question waiting for an answer. Rex steps onto the dock first, paws tapping lightly against the wooden boards. His ears twitch as he takes in every distant horn, every gull cry, every faint ripple from the ocean. His nose lifts, catching scents the human investigators cannot. There is something sharp in the air metal, cold fear, engine oil, and the faint trace of a person who struggled. Rex pauses, eyes narrowing with instinctive focus. Charlie arrives behind him, walking with the calm of someone who has stood over countless crime scenes yet still respects the weight of each one. He surveys the layout, the broken board, the scattered scrape marks, the missing railing piece. Something violent happened here, but the scene is too clean. Someone wiped away traces, someone careful and methodical. Charlie notices Rex's intense stare at the gap in the railing. He kneels beside the dog, giving him space to examine the area on his own. Rex leans forward and inhales deeply. The scent surprises him. It's mixed, layered to different people, but one scent carries panic, sweat, and adrenaline. The other is colder, steadier, the kind that belongs to someone who doesn't panic easily. Rex steps forward toward the edge of the dock and sniffs the damp wood. He lets out a low sound, almost a growl, but more thoughtful than aggressive, as if confirming a theory only he understands. Charlie watches closely, reading every movement. He trusts Rex more than any witness. There's a story here, written across the boards and the air, and Rex is already reading it line by line. Charlie notices small droplets dried near the broken plank too high to be seawater splashes. He gently touches one, blood. Not much, but enough to suggest a struggle occurred before the fall. Rex shifts, sensing the same realization. A nearby officer calls out, holding up a plastic evidence bag. Inside lies a strange device, water-damaged but still blinking faintly, a small red light fighting to stay alive. Charlie's eyes widen slightly, recognizing its importance. It looks like some kind of frequency scanner or transmitter. The kind of thing someone hiding messages inside radio waves might use. The officer explains they found it caught between two boards of the pier as if dropped by accident or in the middle of a fight. Rex pulls Charlie's attention again. He's now sniffing toward the far edge of the dock, where the wooden boards meet the gravel path. His movements become quicker, more confident. He finds something in object partly buried in grit. Charlie gently lifts it. A glove stained with engine oil. It's worn and rough, clearly used often, and its scent is strong. Rex sniffs it once, and his entire posture shifts, alert, engaged, ready. This glove belongs to someone connected to the attack. Charlie stands, glancing toward the open path leading away from the dock. You got something, partner, he murmurs under his breath. Rex answers not with sound but with action. He begins walking, slow at first, then faster, nose close to the ground, tracing a trail that only he can detect. The officers step aside, giving Rex room to work. Charlie follows, matching his pace. The trail leads past crates, across gravel, and along a narrow road running beside the water. Each few steps, Rex pauses, turning his head to catch the scent again. It's faint but steady. Someone tried to cover their tracks. Yet not enough to fool Rex. Charlie senses they're dealing with someone smart, someone experienced, someone who didn't expect a canine with near-perfect precision. As Rex leads the way, the morning grows brighter, revealing long shadows stretching across the quiet dockyard. But there is no peace in the scene. Something hidden, something dangerous, is only just beginning to surface. And with every step, Rex brings them closer to the truth, the kind of truth that never stays buried for long. Rex leads Charlie deeper along the narrow road that winds away from the dock. The morning sun climbs higher, but the cold air still hugs the ground, settling around the quiet industrial district. The buildings here look tired, like they've been waiting for years to be noticed. Rusted metal walls, broken windows covered with plastic sheets, and doors that groan in the wind. It's the kind of place trouble hides without fear of being found. Rex slows near a gravel turnoff. His nose dips low, picking up something new, stronger now, fresher, more certain. Charlie watches him closely. Rex's tail stiffens, signaling a clear direction. The trail points straight toward an old warehouse sitting alone near the edge of the shoreline. The building is wide, dark, and silent. Its metal siding dented like it has taken too many hits from the weather and the world. A faded sign hangs crooked above the main door, the letters long and readable. Charlie approaches carefully, eyes scanning details most people would overlook. One of the side windows is cracked, glass dust scattered beneath it. The lock on the main door looks scratched, as if someone forced it open from the outside and then pulled it shut again. Fresh boot prints mark the dirt, overlapping each other, as if two or more people were moving in a hurry. He gets the feeling they arrived recently and possibly left not long ago. Rex circles around the door, sniffing the frame with sharp concentration. Then he stops near a thin gap where the metal doesn't sit flush. He presses his nose into it and backs up, letting out a short breath. The scent inside is strong, almost overwhelming engine oil, sweat, metal dust, and something bitter, like burnt electronics. This place was used, not abandoned, at least not last night. Charlie pushes the door open slowly. It creaks, echoing through the cavernous space inside. The warehouse is dimly lit by dusty skylights that barely allow the morning light to trickle in. Rows of shelves stretch into the shadows, many empty, others cluttered with old fishing gear, cables, broken crates, and pieces of machinery that look out of place. But the main thing that hits Charlie is the silence, heavy, unmoving, the kind that comes after people leave in a hurry. Rex steps in first, paws even softer than usual on the dusty floor. He moves like he's studying a map only he can see, sniffing patches of the ground where footprints disturb the dust. Charlie stays close, eyes on every dark corner. The deeper they walk, the clearer the signs appear. Someone used this warehouse as a working space. A table sits in the center, crowded with wires, tools, and a half-open metal box filled with strange components. Beside it, a chair lies knocked over, as if someone stood up too fast. Charlie bends to study the items. He finds a small container of solder, an unfinished device that looks like part of a transmitter, and a roll of masking tape with fingerprints smudged across the sides. Everything feels hurried, like whoever was here didn't expect visitors and had to leave before finishing whatever they were building. Rex suddenly turns his head to the right, ears up. He pads toward a large fishing net hanging loosely against the wall. Behind it, half hidden, is a trapdoor set into the floor. The wood around it shows signs of recent movement, scratches, loose debris, and a faint smear of something dark. Charlie kneels, touching the smear lightly. It's blood. Low quantity, likely from a cut or scrape, not from a deadly wound. But it's enough to confirm that the victim or the attacker was here. He left the trapdoor. A cool rush of air escapes, carrying a blend of rust, seawater, and the scent of something electrical. A narrow staircase drops into a storage basement. The bottom is shrouded in shadow, the kind that absorbs light instead of reflecting it. Rex doesn't hesitate. He steps onto the first stair and waits for Charlie to follow. The basement is quieter than the warehouse above. The walls are lined with old generators and fuel cans. But the center of the room is what catches Charlie's attention. A table covered with radio equipment, transmitters, dials, cords, headphones, and a laptop with its screen cracked but still glowing faintly. Folders of printed signals lie scattered around. The victim had been listening, decoding, tracking, and someone else had been trying very hard to stop them. Rex sniffs near the corner and stops again. There, lying partly under a metal shelf, is a shoe, water-damaged, worn, and unmistakably belonging to the victim who vanished into the ocean. This wasn't just a hiding place. It was the center of the entire operation. Charlie stands over the basement table, staring at the scattered pages, the tangled wires, and the half-finished devices. Everything feels rushed, unfinished, and desperate, like someone working against time, knowing danger was closing in faster than they could handle. The faint glow from the cracked laptop screen casts a dim blue wash across the room, reflecting off the metal equipment and giving the basement a cold, ghostly look. Dust drifts slowly in the air, untouched for hours but not long enough to erase the signs of struggle. Rex moves quietly around the table, taking in the scents that cling to everything. The victim was here. His scent is everywhere, mixed with fear and determination. He must have spent hours in this basement trying to record the transmissions coming through the illegal frequencies. Rex senses something else too, a second scent layered underneath the first. It's heavier, colder, marked by oil, metal, and something chemical. The attacker had been here not long after the victim. Their presence lingers in the air like a warning, Charlie picks up one of the printed sheets lying near the edge of the table. Lines of numbers and letters fill the page in a pattern that loops and twists with purpose. A coded message clearly one the victim was trying to break apart. At the top of the page, a handwritten note stands out, the ink smudged slightly as if written in a hurry. Charlie leans closer to read it. If something happens, follow the signal, a chill runs through him. The victim must have known they were in danger. They left a clue behind, hoping someone would find it. Charlie glances toward the laptop. Its screen flickers weakly, barely holding on. He touches the trackpad and the light brightens just enough to reveal a waveform display frozen mid-recording. A final incomplete transmission. A voice buried beneath static. A hint of the truth the victim died trying to share. Rex perks up suddenly, ears sharp. He steps toward a metal cabinet against the far wall, pushes at the door with his nose, and waits. Charlie opens it carefully. Inside lies a small portable radio receiver, damaged but still intact. The antenna is bent and the outer casing is scratched, but the battery light glows faintly. The device is still alive. Charlie turns it on. At first, there is nothing but static. Then a low hum rises, followed by short pulses of sound that repeat in a timed rhythm. It isn't a normal broadcast. It's a signal, a coded one. Charlie listens carefully. The pulses form a pattern, like someone knocking out a message from far away. It's the same pattern from the printed sheets. The victim was close to solving it. Charlie feels the pressure tighten in his chest. They aren't dealing with a simple smuggling operation. They're dealing with a network communicating through hidden frequencies, sending orders, warnings, and maybe even threats through the air. Rex moves again, pulling Charlie's attention to the corner of the room. There, half hidden under a pile of old cables, is something small and metallic. Charlie kneels and lifts it out carefully. A flash drive, scratched and dirty but clearly important. His fingers brush dust off the surface. The victim must have dropped it in the struggle. Maybe they meant to hide it. Maybe they hoped someone would find it later. Charlie plugs it into the laptop. The screen flickers, loads slowly, and then reveals a folder labeled simply ECH08. Inside are audio clips, saved messages, and notes. One file stands out, marked with a timestamp from the night of the attack. Charlie clicks it. For a moment, the basement fills with a burst of static. Then a voice breaks through, shaky, urgent, terrified. It's not just signals, the voice says. They're tracking the boats, using the frequencies to mask every move. If they find out what I recorded, if they know I cracked the pattern, the recording cuts abruptly. The quiet afterward is heavy, the kind that settles deep in the chest. Rex lets out a quiet breath, almost a sigh. Charlie closes the laptop gently. The victim discovered something massive, something dangerous enough to get them killed. And the person behind all of this is still out there, waiting for their next move, hiding behind broken radio waves like shadows hiding behind fog. Charlie places a hand on Rex's back, steadying himself. This wasn't just a murder, he mutters. This was a warning, but warnings can be followed. Signals can be traced. And this case is far from over.